Hey guys, and welcome back to Sundays with Chuck, even though it's Monday. And my apologies, I was traveling to visit my family in Hawaii for the next month, so it's a day late, but hopefully that won't happen again. Um, so this week slash last week's topic was sexuality. Uh, I'm gonna be including gender as well when I talk about this because um, they're often confused with each other, and I kind of like to set the record straight with my own opinion, of course. Everybody has their own views on everything, but this is mine. That's why you're watching it. So, for myself, I identify as a queer person. Um, you could also say bisexual or pansexual. Um, Not saying that they're all the same thing. It's just I like people. I like attractive people who are attractive to me. I don't give a shit what's in their pants, sort of thing. So, and for my gender identity, I love to say that I'm a just plain old male. Um, but for label wise, I'm a transgender female to male, FTM, born female, now no such thing. And yeah, so those are those. There's the beginning. So there's a major difference between sexual identity and gender identity that lots of people get confused by and don't quite understand, and that's understandable, because it is quite a confusing topic that I definitely won't be able to cover the entire thing in the amount how long this video will be. But transgender people, they can identify with any sexuality, whether it's heterosexual, uh, homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, asexual, queer, all those types of things. Pretty much exactly like the people who are comfortable with their bodies as they're born. They identify with a certain sexuality regardless of their gender. It's the same for us. Um, so, like, for me, gender identity is defined by your roles and roles within jobs, within family, really your identity, like your self expression, your self description, whether you're masculine or feminine, or either or neither or both, or you know, you can be anything these days, and that's totally cool. Uh, Gender identity also has a lot to do with expression, which clothes, personality, um, your style, your mannerisms. Also, perception is a very big thing when it comes to gender, because you can't control, if only you could, but you can't control how others perceive you. Um, but you can control how you perceive others and hopefully make a good difference in the world by being open and all that sort of jazz. So, like, transgender, I'm on the edge about it being part of the LGBTQIA spectrum, because all of those other letters are a sexual identity, rather than the T is not at all, because a trans person, they'll have a sexual identity since the moment they're born, during transition, before transition, after transition. It might change, it might not change. It doesn't matter, but it's not a sexual identity. It's like, unless, I don't know. It just does. It really doesn't make sense to me why it's included in that kind of sort of spectrum, but like I get that we're all a community of people, and then transgender people can identify with different sexualities, so they'll be part of the LGBT, etc. Group thing. So, I sort of categorize gender and sexuality in two different ways. Kind of, my mom thought it was funny, and so if my mom thinks I'm funny, then obviously that's true. So, gender is like really. I'm just gonna use pants as a metaphor. Gender is like what the pants are made of, and how they're accessorized, how the person pulls them off. Well, not really pulls them off, but you know what I mean. It's just like gender is who you are outside and inside. Sexual identity is completely different. It's again with the pants metaphor. It's what the person in the pants does with at least one other person with their pants off. So if you can get that, you've made a giant step in figuring out the difference between gender identity and sexual identity, and good for you. I also have a bunch of questions that you can't even see that lighting that were asked of me about sexuality, gender, and I will see which ones I kind of want to answer. Oh, okay, here's a good one. Did your attraction slash sexual identity fluctuate before or during transition? Of course. Of course, because hormones play a very big influence on who you're really attracted to. And also, transitioning and being on hormones makes you much more comfortable in most cases with your body. And so you feel like you can pursue people of other gender that you were previously scared of or wary of, and but wanted to experience that with that person. So before I transitioned, I identified as a lesbian, which is ridiculous because I never felt like a lesbian. I actually, honestly, no offense, but I despised that word because it didn't describe me at all. I dated girls only because it made me feel masculine. It made me feel good. When I started HRT, I got more comfortable. I dated both girls and guys, and I still do. And it's nice. It's nice to have a choice. But yeah, it definitely does fluctuate. Some days I'll feel like, oh, I'm more of a girl kind of interested in girls today, or tomorrow I'm like, oh, I'm more interested in guys. Like, yeah, and another question is, have I ever redefined my sexuality more than once? Has HRT made the attraction different? Previous answer is yes. But I'm not saying that if you go on hormones, you're going to be gay. Like, please don't take this from this. Like, you can stay the same sexuality. It just really it depends on from person to person. Have I always identified as queer? If not, when did I start? No, I didn't always identify as queer. I've been many different sexualities because that you can do that. You can do that. Don't let anyone tell you you can't change who you are because it's your own life. But I started identifying as queer about a year ago because it seemed like the right definition for me, and I really, it's a nice word to say. I like the word. So about a year ago, I heard a myth that when you go on testosterone, you turn gay. We just discovered that. Is it true? No. because it's your own body, it's your own sexuality. Gender and sexuality completely different. Hormones might make things a bit confusing because your body is adjusting to just different kinds of feelings towards people and towards yourself. Um, but you really do figure out in the end, and if it doesn't work out, you can be just be who you are. Like Jesus. um, did you get more angry on when starting testosterone? No more. No, no. Actually, quite more mellow ish. I do get frustrated a lot easier, but I have not noticed a difference between like just my anger. I'm a pretty mellow person, I think. I hope. Um, what else? How did I come out at first? Trans or something else? I first came out as a lesbian at 15, which was completely wrong. I wish I knew that you could transition to male beforehand. It would have made a lot more sense if I knew that. When I turned 17, my friend Lucas made a video on YouTube saying that he was transitioning FTM, and I was like, holy shit, you can do that? Like, I didn't know that existed, and the moment I watched that video, everything just clicked, and I can't snap. Nope. Everything just kind of clicked, and that day, at 17, I was just graduating my senior year at high school. I changed my name to Charlie, or Chuck. I bought myself a binder. I researched everything. I told my girlfriend at the time. I told my teachers. I came out on Facebook pretty much the first week of discovering who I was. I came out loud and proud because I didn't. If someone didn't agree with me, then like I don't care. It's not my. I'm not a teacher. Like it's not my job to change your mind about me, but I can just tell you about my experiences, and maybe you can change your own mind. Um, what else? Can you tell us your experience with your sexuality, good and bad? Um, in high school, I was bullied. Actually, starting from middle school, um, I was bullied quite a bit. I don't resent it at all. It definitely built my character a little bit. A lot more tough. Not tough as in tough, but just things don't hurt me as much as they used to. But in middle school, they found out that I liked girls, and lots of children did not particularly like that. So it was a very bad experience. Lots of graffiti written about me, lots of rumors, beat up a few times. In high school, I got called faggot a lot because I dressed the same way as I dress now, and I was dating a girl at the time, and I was identifying as girl at the time, so the word dyke came up. So yeah, those are the bad experiences. When I moved to Seattle, though, and I came out as transgender, the whole school was supportive. They changed. They. I guess I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm getting confused. Sorry. I'm both subjects, but like they just. It was all good. Like it was good, and it's been good ever since. And the last question is, does my sister understand my situation? She was the first person to be like, yeah, you're a boy, you're my brother. She was the first person to get angry at people for not using the right pronouns and for not using um, my name. And she also understands that guys can be with guys, girls can be with girls, etc., etc. So she's cool. And I think that's about it. This has been a really long video. I apologize, but I will see you next week for our, I think it's coming out, which I kind of talked about. But I'll make suggestions on how to do that. So it's been great talking to you guys again, and